And then I'll do a quick video here on the water system. So there's a shower here with this, and you just, the shower is pretty straightforward. But what this is useful for is letting the pressure off the line. So there's all these things that you can switch here that tell you different things based on what you're doing. If you're dry camping, water from tank via pump. If you're just filling up the tank, you're doing the city inlet. So city inlet is basically, this is your freshwater in. So if you got, it says city water, but it could be country water too, right? So a lot of wells and other things. But so this is just water in, and based on where you want that water to go, then you do these switches in different ways. But the key is to always take the pressure off the line by opening up the shower and then letting this run until there's no more water, and that'll take all the pressure off the line. Make sure you close this back, because otherwise you'll flood your compartment if you don't get get that closed back up once you turn the water back on. And then you'll switch these valves. They just turn. So some of them are a little sticky, but you want to make sure that you get that pressure off so you don't blow any of the O-rings out and have it leaking or whatever. So basically this tells you exactly what you need to do, and it's pretty straightforward. Up here you have a switch for your pump. So once you get it set to what you want it to be on, it's currently set to dry camping. So that's water from the tank via the pump. Then you would just turn this on here, or there's a switch up in the control panel inside, and you can hear that pump running. And again, we've got this clear thing here so we can check for leaks periodically. But that is how that kind of works. So now it's pressurized again, so you would want to take this pressure off the system before you turned any of those valves. And so that's pretty much it for the freshwater system. See, it came up to pressure nicely. A little bit of air in the lines, but it's off right now, so it'll just bleed off as it goes. You can get you a garden nozzle or whatever you want, of course. There is a power here on GFI, so that switch is in the kitchen under the island if that one gets tripped for whatever reason. And then for dumping the tanks, you've got your black tank flush here. So this goes up, and in the shower, it's connected to some lines that go up behind the shower to a vacuum breaker that are, kind of like this high up in the camper, so that you don't get any backflush from the black tank back down into here. But there's so this runs to the black tank and helps flush it out. So make sure you always use this, and again, use the water hose that they have at the campground if you can, if it'll reach. And if it won't, then this blue hose right here that I have is what I've used for that black tank flush. It's usually sufficient. And then this is freshwater only. Don't mix the two. And then yeah, so you'll want to make sure you've got this one pulled out. That'll be your black tank. Pull that one all the way out, and then pull this one here. This is a gate valve just for the whole system. Pull that out once you've got your hoses already hooked up, and pull that out, and it'll come on out. And that'll take a few minutes to flush out. And then once that's good, depending on how much time I have and if there's a line waiting or not. If there's no line waiting, I will sometimes close this valve back, let the black tank fill for 6 minutes, 5 or 6 minutes. It kind of depends on how much pressure there is at the place. And then once that's kind of gotten filled up again, I will pull that out again to give it another good flush. It's that big gravity push in the big hose that really does a good job. So that's what I try to always make sure, and then let it run till it's clear. And you can do kinds of different things there. These are for your 2 gray. I explained that to you, but I always leave these open so that they are basically one big tank, and that's why I have this valve on there, so that I can have more gray capacity. Because you'll sometimes, if you take a lot of showers, you'll fill up the shower side, the bath side. If you wash a lot of dishes, then you might fill up the kitchen side sooner. So That's pretty much that in a nutshell. Oh, one other thing, all the way here behind us, that that valve there is the white valve is the freshwater empty valve, and then that blue pipe coming down is your freshwater overflow. So if you are filling up your tank, you can let that go until you basically see water coming out of there. There's debates on whether or not that should happen or not, but that's the way I've done it, and it seems to have been fun. So if you want to empty out your freshwater tank, you pull that lever there. And your low points for your hot and cold pressurized side are here in those two right there. So if you do want to winterize it for whatever reason, then that's where you would do that. Propane disconnect right there. If you want to put in a grill or something right there, I think the extra line is in there. So that's where you would hook that in as well.